The dragon of Miami was a dragon of an unknown species who hatched in a coconut tree located in Miami, Florida on July 16th, 1704. He was incredibly smart, kind, protective, muscular, and extremely resilient. He hatched alone as an orphan. He had a long, slender body with a crest that started on his head and ran to his neck. He had no front legs, he had 2 hind legs and 2 wings, and stood bipedal with his wings and tail above the ground. He had a thin tail fin with 3 thin points at the end of his tail. He had a slender, round, long snout. He was 9 feet tall with a 7-foot wingspan. His scales were a sandy yellow, his crest was pale aqua. He had pale sky blue eyes, a sky blue underbelly, and his tail fin at the end of his tail was pale aqua. His wing membranes were also aqua, and his claws were sky blue. He weighed 990 pounds. He had senses around 1 quintillion times better than a human. He could lift 5 times his weight. He had 5 photos taken of him and only 5 photos ever. Here is each photo from earliest to oldest. Here is each photo from earliest to newest. Sorry about the error, viewers. This first one was taken when he was 5 years old, in 1709. In 1719, when he was 15, in 1719. This was sometime during World War I. This was him when he realized almost his entire species got killed during the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And then this was the last photo ever taken of him. Here's the timeline of each photo. The first one, July 16th, 1709, he was 5. The second one was taken on July 16th, 1719. The third one was taken sometime during World War I in 1916. He was 212. The fourth one was taken when he realized Pearl Harbor was bombed and that the bombing killed almost all of his entire species in 1945. He was 237. The fifth one was taken right before he left Miami for Bridge Creek and more, 1999, he was 294. He left on January 29th, 1999, arriving on May 3rd, 1999, at 11:08 a.m., hiding near a tornado shelter, waiting 4 hours and 45 minutes until the Bridge Creek Moor tornado touched down. He helped every human and pet he could into the shelter, and seconds before he could close the door, he spotted a 2-week-old kitten in the path of the violent F5 tornado. He quickly grabbed the kitten and put it in the shelter, closing the doors, and pushed his body against the doors so they didn't fly open when the tornado passed over. He kept himself pushed against the doors, the 321-mile-per-hour winds causing fatal hidden internal injuries to him, and he wouldn't know he was fatally injured until he was in Tampa And on August 8th, 1999, 3 months and 5 days after the tornado, he fell unconscious due to the extreme pain and died at 8:12 p.m. due to his fatal injuries. His fatal internal injuries. The first 2 photos were drawn by artists since permanent camera images weren't invented yet. The first 2 photos being taken by the first camera, the camera obscura, which was before the camera. The Dragon of Miami's nicknames by Miami residents were T-Dom, Dom, Tropicana, and Great Guardian. Here are when the nicknames were first used from earliest to newest. Great Guardian, 1896, the year Miami was founded. T-Dom, 1978, an acronym for his full known name. Dom, 1992, an acronym for the last 3 words in his full known name. Tropicana, 1996, when he told his whole life story, since he could remember everything that happened in his life without forgetting. He was first called the Dragon of Miami in late 1896 because he told the settlers that it was a better name, and the settlers were okay with the name change. He did like his first name of Great Guardian, though. It just became old and he wanted to try something new. Studies in 2000 showed that he was well adapted to a tropical climate and had won the genetic lottery, since his species was found to be a clash of hybrids known as tortoiseshell dragons, based off tortoiseshell cats. The Dragon of Miami's genetic line was made of 98.9% of tropical dragon species that were aquatic, semi-aquatic, and land-dwelling, with various different diets. Miami residents that had been present when he was alive show that he ate a diverse diet of fish, lizards, alligators, crocodiles, occasionally 1 turtle, deer, birds, along with various plants and insects. Scientists found something the Dragon of Miami wrote when he was around 23 on April 4th, 1728. The piece of paper read, "Dear Diary Page, April 4th, 1728, at 5:09 in the morning, I found a dolphin washed up on the beach. It was an elderly dolphin, and it was dead. I estimate it was around 94 years old, as it was an orca. If it was 94, it must have been born around February or March 1634. May it rest in peace. I will call it Ora, the oldest known orca I have ever seen." The entry shows that he was more than capable of writing with extraordinary grammar, spelling, and punctuation, along with having an extensive understanding of English, and showed that he may have been able to speak. In 2001, researchers studying the Dragon of Miami's home, a row of palm trees on the beach, with one of the palm trees being where he hatched from his egg, they found 2 recordings, one labeled Life Story and Before I Leave. Scientists played the recordings and found that the Dragon of Miami did speak. His voice was deep, raspy, guttural, and loud, but had hidden gentleness and kindness underneath the intimidating main tones. He also had a strange Slavic, Nordic, and unidentified Mediterranean or tropical accent mixed with Jamaican and Polish undertones along with Finnish, the most dominant of his odd accent mix being between Jamaican and Finnish. Scientists in 2008 determined after studying the Dragon of Miami's genetics, they found he could have possibly lived 900 to 2,000 years old had he not died at the age of 295 years in 1999. 19 years after the Dragon of Miami's death, a statue was erected of him in the heart of Miami as a memorial to him. The statue was the same exact size as him. In 2009, however, sightings of him were reported in Miami, showing the possibility of him still being alive. The sightings are still being reported even 16 years later here in 2025. They have slowed, but still show the small possibility of T-Dom still being alive. Scientists estimate that there is a 1.009% chance he could still be alive. If the Dragon of Miami was still alive today, he would be 321 years, 4 months, and 17 days old. His story is forever known by Miami residents that lived and walked the town when he did. Tortoiseshell dragons, the rarest dragon species, have a population of only 96 individuals. The Dragon of Miami was one of the first individuals of his entire species. When Pearl Harbor was bombed, his species population was 500. The bombing killed over 386 tortoiseshell dragons. He is a Miami legend and will never be forgotten and will always be remembered as the legendary dragon of southern Florida. I thought this was going to be a lot longer than it was, viewers. Anyway, remember, this is just a work of fiction and it's all my imagination. I thought all of this info up a while ago, like weeks ago. And yeah. Okay, viewers. Peace.